Hello and welcome to the 1% Solution. Here you'll find tips and tools to help you acquire more physician clients one small step at a time. I'm Dr. Vicki Rackner, your host. This week's tip is avoid and escape overwhelm. If you know anyone who's run a marathon, you know that the big fear is hitting the wall. At about 20 miles, the body depletes its glycogen reserves and has to shift to fat as a fuel source. This physiologic change triggers a number of other reactions, including emotional vulnerability, the thought, gee, maybe I won't finish the race, or a lack of access to the plan about how the race will in fact be won. Elite athletes know how to avoid the wall and how to beat it if they hit it. You're a member of this community because you have an interest in accelerating your growth by acquiring more physician clients. Achieving this business goal is much like running a marathon. You can expect at some point along this journey that you will feel overwhelmed. As you well know, there's a correlation between your level of stress and your performance. A little stress is good. That inspires you to take action. There's a level of stress that will optimize your performance. However, if the stress gets higher than that, your performance will erode. What we know is that stress steroids are actually toxic to the brain at high doses. Let's anticipate this overwhelm. Let's talk about how you can avoid it and beat it if you find yourself in the grips of it. Here's the 3-step formula. Step number 1 is get to calm. How do you get to calm? Well, some people try to take shortcuts, watching cat videos or smoking or drinking alcohol. Here are some healthier and more functional ways to do it. The first is a technique called square breathing. This is an exercise in deep diaphragmatic breathing. So you inhale to the count of 2, hold for a count of 2, exhale for a count of 2, and then remain restful for a count of 2 before you inhale again. This is a great tool that you can use anytime. In addition, you can decrease your risk of getting into overwhelm by paying attention to overall brain health. Stay hydrated and don't wait until you're thirsty to start drinking. By the time you're thirsty, you're about 20% dehydrated. Eat regularly to keep a constant source of glucose for your brain. Move around. The brain is designed to help us with motion. The more mobile you are, the better your brain is going to work. Get regular sleep, and last, connect. We as a species are wired to connect. We all need our vitamin C, our vitamin connection. Maybe that's one of the reasons that coaches are so important. Further, another tip is never worry alone. As an aside, let me put on my doctor hat and just let you know that in my experience with financial services professionals, I find that many of them have a brain wiring for whips. Wonderfully interesting personality syndrome. These are highly intelligent, creative, and intuitive people. However, there can be a dark side to whips too, including challenges with organization and procrastination and stick-to-itiveness. People with whips love that next bright, shiny object, or as one of my clients says, they're vulnerable to squirrel, squirrel. The more common description of this brain wiring is ADD or ADHD. If any of these things sound familiar to you, I invite you to read Driven to Distraction by my friend Ed Hallowell. The way he describes it is that we all have thoughts that travel around in our brain. Think of a traffic circle. People with ADD don't have a traffic cop controlling the flow of traffic. Some of my clients have noticed a remarkable enhancement of their performance once they got the right treatment, including behavioral strategies, and some even with medication. The next step in the anti-overwhelm formula is watch your thoughts. Our brains make common and sometimes dangerous mistakes. Just think about it. When you see an optical illusion, even when you know it's an optical illusion, your brain can still be fooled. When your brain is exposed to toxic levels of stress, you're more vulnerable to fear-based thoughts, and that can get you into all sorts of trouble. Some common problems include perfectionism, jumping to conclusions, people-pleasing, mind-reading, and predicting the future. You may have heard of the field of metacognition, which is basically watching your thoughts. Imagine that you're sitting in the corner of a room, watching yourself think and act. At any point, you can ask yourself, What do I observe? What thoughts am I thinking? How do I explain these observations? What do I believe to be true? And what is the evidence? And you can put yourself on the road to high performance by always testing and measuring. I can make guesses about the topics that will interest my prospects and clients. However, I prefer to go with evidence. What are they actually taking a look at? I can find that certain topics will generate 10 or even 100 times the numbers of views. Step number 3 is trust processes. Last night I went out to dinner, and by the time I drove home, it was dark. My headlights can only see a couple of feet in front of me, yet I could see far enough to know that I was on the road I wanted to be on and trusted that the road would take me to where I wanted to get to. Systems and processes can help you achieve your business results too. There is a proven process for acquiring physician clients. I call it the B2D Blueprint. Step number 1 is find your focus. Don't try to be all things to all doctors, but rather work with a group of best fit doctors who all share a similar source of pain. Step number 2 is gather intelligence. You might know somebody who gives the perfect birthday present. And what makes it perfect? Well, it's perfect for you. When you gather intelligence about your best fit clients, you're able to be at the right place and the right time with the right marketing message. Step number 3 is groom for engagement. Communicate to the world that you have this special focus in helping physicians build wealth. Step number 4 is lead generation. There are only 3 sources of leads. Next step is build sales funnels. I think of marketing as the process of engaging people in conversation and selling as the process of persuading somebody to take action. When you're feeling overwhelmed, you can then sit back and ask, where am I stuck? Am I trying to be all things to all doctors, or do I have a focus? Am I delivering the right message to the right person at the right time? How effective are my lead generation campaigns? What is my conversion rate? Am I moving too fast along this sales funnel, or am I giving up too soon? So to avoid and beat overwhelm, manage your stress, manage your thoughts, and manage the client acquisition process. Well, thanks for stopping by. I hope that you found value in this content. Please feel welcome to pass this along to your friends, your colleagues, your broker-dealer. If you've been sent this video, please feel welcome to go to www.targetingdoctors and sign up to be on the list. See you next week.